Create Dropbox folders in D2L to collect your students' electronic homework submissions. The Dropbox also allows you to organize student assignments, grade those assignments while including informative, instructive feedback, and then automatically export assignment grades into your D2L gradebook. In this video, we will cover how to create a basic D2L Dropbox in the D2L learning environment, and then we will post our Dropbox assignment in the D2L content tool. First, open the Dropbox tool from the course homepage by clicking the Evaluation Link group located in the default course navbar and then select Dropbox. The Dropbox folders page displays a list of all Dropbox folders for a particular course. The instructor view of the Dropbox gives you a snapshot of how many student submissions are contained in each folder, how many of those files are unread or flagged, and the Dropbox assignment due date. To create a Dropbox in D2L, click the blue New Folder button. Give your Dropbox folder a name, and most often you'll use the name of the assignment here. If you're going to connect this folder to the gradebook, it's also a good practice to have your Dropbox name similar to the corresponding gradebook item name. For this example, I'm going to create an SA2 Dropbox. If you're wanting to enable Turnitin's originality checking features on this Dropbox, mark the Enable for this folder option. Mark this option if you're wanting to utilize the originality checking or the grade mark features of Turnitin.com. I'm going to leave this option unchecked for now, but view the Turnitin originality checking and Dropbox instructional video to learn more about enabling this feature and utilizing the Turnitin services. Select a folder type. The default option here is individual submission folder, and selecting individual means that users submit their own files and those files are assessed individually. If you select group submission folder type, any member of a specific group can submit folders to this group Dropbox, and then other members within that group can view each other's submissions, and then the group members will receive a collective common grade. Selecting group submission folder type is only available if you already have groups created within the Groups tool. Now, the folder type option is the only option within the Dropbox setup that cannot be changed once a Dropbox has been created. If you want to categorize your Dropbox folders, you can select a category here, or you can click the New Category hyperlink to create a category. For example, if your class will have several different types of writing assignments, it may be helpful to your students to group those related assignments using categories, but selecting a category is optional. If you want to connect this Dropbox to the gradebook, select a pre-existing grade item here, or you can click the New Grade Item hyperlink to create a new grade item in a separate window. Connecting your Dropbox to a grade item will allow you to automatically export grades from the Dropbox into the D2L gradebook. I'm going to select my SA2 grade item here, and then I'm going to enter an out of score in the out of text box. So the out of score should be the perfect score on this particular assignment. And if you're connected to a gradebook item, the out of score should be the exact same value as that grade item's maximum point value. If you're going to connect an interactive rubric to this Dropbox, click the Add Rubric button and then select from the list of pre-existing rubrics in D2L. Enter any instructions for this Dropbox assignment in the Instructions text box. The instructions display to the student on the Upload Submission page, and students are not able to see the Dropbox instructions once a Dropbox has closed. So be sure that if you are going to enter instructions into this box, that those instructions are also listed elsewhere, such as in your Content tool. If you need to attach any files to this Dropbox, for example, you want students to replicate a specific template or you want to include an example file, click the Add a File button and then select the appropriate file. In the Submission Options section, you'll determine how D2L handles student submissions. For the Files Allowed per Submission setting, select Unlimited if you will allow your students to upload multiple files at once. If you would prefer that the students upload only one file at a time, please select the second option. Unlimited is the default setting. For the Submissions setting, select from one of three options available to determine which student files are kept in D2L. Selecting the first option will keep all student files, and this option is the default. Selecting the second option will only keep the most recent file a student submits and will discard any previous submissions to the Dropbox. And selecting the third option will give the student only one opportunity to upload a file or files to the Dropbox. After you've made your selection, scroll back up to the top of this page and then click on the Restrictions tab. The Restrictions tab is going to allow you to set dates and special access for this particular folder. Setting a start date on a Dropbox folder will prohibit students from uploading a submission before the date and time that you specify. Setting an end date on a Dropbox folder will prohibit students from uploading a submission after the date and time you specify. Now, this date is going to be automatically inserted into the student calendar, the end date, that is. Setting a due date for a Dropbox folder will create a benchmark so that you're going to be able to distinguish between students who submitted on time versus students who did not. This date will be automatically inserted into the student calendar as well, but it has no effect on the student's ability to upload a submission. You can have any, all, or none of these dates applied to a specific Dropbox folder. If you want this Dropbox folder to appear to students conditionally, create or attach a release condition to the box. Performing this action will mandate that the student satisfy a condition that you specify before being able to visually see or submit to this Dropbox. If you have a student who requires a separate set of dates, so a separate start, due, or end date, you can click the Add Users to Special Access button to create a separate set of parameters. This option may be applicable if you have a student who had planned to be unavailable for an assignment but has worked with you to make other arrangements. If you're going to create special access for a student, it's always a good idea to click Save to save your original dates, and then click the Add Users to Special Access button. Once you're on that Add Users to Special Access page, select the alternate dates and students, and then click Save. Once you've completed the settings on the Restrictions tab, click Save and Close, and you will be returned back to the Dropbox folder list page. Now that we've created our Dropbox, let's navigate to the Content tool and select a module, and then, using the Add Existing Activities button, insert a link directly to this Dropbox folder for your students. So I'm going to select the Add Existing Activities button and then choose the Dropbox tool, and then I'll select the appropriate folder. This action will insert a link directly to this Dropbox folder in my Content tool so that students have direct access to upload their files.